Welcome back.
I'm Nicole.
And I'm Megan.
We're the Synchronicity Sisters. We help you change your brain to change your life.
We do lots of things.
We do a lot of things. If you want to know more information, head over to our website. Check out our stand store above in the link if you're watching us on YouTube. But that link is not there. That was a joke. If you're on Instagram, you can click the link. But we're going to jump right in today, and we are going to talk about, ladies, how you are texting your man. Because there's a lot of really entertaining stuff on the internet talking about this right now.
Texting is an art.
Yeah, it is. Communication is an art. And words are extremely powerful. They're like the most powerful thing on the planet next to like water and fire. But you can destroy your relationship quite quickly over text messages. And Megan recently showed me a coach. She's a feminist coach, feminine coach online. And this triggered a conversation between her and I about text communication, because some of the text examples that she was using were very abrasive.
Well, they were just mean, honestly.
Yeah, they were mean. They were abrasive. They were like stonewalling. And we want to talk about this topic today because it's really important if you're in a relationship or you just got into a relationship with a man, how you're communicating via text. Because, like I said, it can make or break your relationship. And in the world we live in, texting is like a way of communicating now. So it's like it's truly an art. It's truly an art.
And it hasn't, it hasn't been studied a lot. Not that that matters, but it's just hard because you're taking out, right, body language and tonality and everything. So, you know, being very conscious of what you're texting and like how you're coming across, you know, that's why the invention of emojis was actually really good, because that does help. But yeah, I would just be very cautious of what you consume. Just like you know, all of our friends with kids and stuff are very conscious of like what their kids are consuming. You also need to be conscious of like who you're listening to and what you're consuming. And if you don't want to be like the person that you're listening to or watching their videos, then don't take their advice, because like this human was actually terrifying looking. Or like she would speak and her face would move. And I don't want to like bash her, but like that's a fair amount of plastic surgery. And I actually mean like that's an overboard amount. And so
well, it's self-hatred. And when someone is teaching femininity, feminine represents self-love and self-centered. I always mess that up. Self-centered. Which, if you're truly in your feminine, you're not seeking outside validation, because you love yourself first and then you love those people around you. And so we're seeing this a lot in our culture right now. And actually, women that are seeking high levels of Botox and fake things in their body, it's actually collapsed into your masculine. It's part of the masculine shield, and it's heavily pushed right now in our industry. It's actually like, I know this sounds really vile, but it's very heavily backed by porn culture. And because it started in the porn industry.
They look like blow up dolls.
Yeah, it started in the porn industry,
like
and it has evolved into mainstream. So, you know, and I totally was guilty. Like, I was totally in Botox culture. Like, when I lived in California, that shit sucked. Like, my forehead, it fucking hurt. Like, I remember getting it, and I was like, get this out of my face. Because I'm so, like, my face is so expressional, but, like, I was so, people would, like, make comments like, oh, you're, like, you have those 11s, like, you know, you can take care of those. Like, I had clients say that to me, but it was because my face is so expressional when I talk that, like, over time, like, they're there, and that's who they are. But I used to hate them because people would talk about them. And so I would get Botox, and it was actually, like, counterproductive, because even though I was doing it for an exchange, I was watching people spend insane amount of money on Botox to put in their face. But anyways, like, I would metabolize it so fast, but it actually made it worse. Like, it actually made my 11s worse. And like, now see it in hindsight. One, I hated it. And two, like in hindsight, I'm like, why did I do that? That was stupid. But it was all just because like comments that were made and like I just hated myself. I hated them. And then I was like, oh, here we are. So there's like a form of like literally I was like collapsed into the world of like my job. Like I remember my boss being like, you really need to get those like taken care of because, you know, being on stage and doing this, like people judge you. And I was like, oh my God, my career, like people are going to judge me for this. So masculine. I was 100% my masculine and consumed by it. And we're seeing it more and more between the lip fillers and the boob jobs and like the amount of Botox people have on their face. But it's also, I totally am tangenting right now, but it's also doing severe psychological damage to children because they can't see expression on the mother's face when the baby is born. So anyways, if you are putting a lot of Botox or you're following people that have a lot of Botox and plastic surgery in their life, just know it's coming from a place of majority of it is 10 out of 10 self-hate.
Well, yeah, it's insecurity and self-worth.
Yeah,
same
yeah.
thing. But it's not, that is...
It's very damaging, not only to your liver, but also to like all parts of your body and your soul, and you're collapsed into your masculine. So
you always want to ask why you're doing something.
Right.
And like, that's not a health benefit.
No.
It's benefiting nothing other than like literally dark ego. And if a man, you know, if she's doing it to attract a man or whatever, like if a man doesn't like you because your face moves and you're aging, which everybody does, then that's not the person you want to be with. Right. Because that also means that he doesn't care about you as a human. And I will say, yes, men, their main sex organ is their eyes, and men love beauty. But the thing is like, if that is legitimately all he cares about, like he doesn't get to know you and fall in love with you and all of that, then we got a problem.
He probably gets Botox too.
Well, he'll cheat on you. He'll 100% cheat on you.
True.
He'll leave you for a younger woman. That's not somebody that loves themselves and can even love another. So, you know, it's just, that entire thing was just to be conscious of, you know, who you're following and who you want to be like. Because when you're consuming, you're telling the algorithm, and also it's taking your time, and time is really the only currency we have. So anyway, back to texting. This woman, the whole point of saying that was this woman had an entire class on texting.
Well, she talks about being how to be in your feminine, and she's not in her feminine. So that's why that whole tangent happened.
Well, she's teaching girls to be mean.
Yes, mean and bullies.
And I saw this not just with her, but a different feminine coach like posted this, and I actually will do a post about it on our Instagram because I did screenshot it. But it was, you know, this man texted this girl and said, "Hey, we've been going out for a few weeks. Like, I really want to have sex with you. What are the odds of us, like, having sex soon?" And she literally just put, like, 0%. Like, that was... And the coach was bashing the man. And, no, that's the woman's fault.
That's like, 100% the woman's fault.
Why the hell... men want sex. They're penetrating, right? They crave sex. And that is shaming a man for wanting to have sex with you. The only reason why he's talking to you is because he wants to have sex with you. Men pursue sex and fall in love secondary, right? They pursue sex, and that's why women think like, oh, I need to give him sex because that's what he wants. No, it's actually in the pulling back and saying, yes, I also want to have sex with you, but I'm not comfortable until I get to know you better. Like, we don't shame men for wanting sex. And again, this was another person where I was just like, she's teaching texting. And I'm like, this is completely wrong. And it was just horrific. I almost sent her a message, but then I was like, you know what? She's doing her thing, but has hundreds of thousands of followers.
Well, it's crazy because, like, I mean, we both have so much Gemini in us that, like, when we build out classes and build out our content, we flip the script and we actually talk to men. We, like, bring, like, our male clients, our male friends, like, we have, like, a conversation of, like, hey, if you got this you know, if she said this to you, how would you receive it, and this and that, and, like, I just flipped the script, and if, like, someone said that to me, that would be horrible.
Like, nothing else, just 0%.
That's gut-wrenching. That's horrible. No one wants
like,
to feel that.
Super long message back of just, like, you're so mean, and I can't believe, da-da-da-da. Now, he was coming from his feelings.
Right, but,
which
like,
is not masculine.
But also how
her
deflating and
sitting
mean.
there bashing the masculine for pursuing sex. It's not like this was the first date, and I'm on dating apps right now. I had a guy last night that was like,
Come over.
you know, want to come over to my place? And I was like, thank you so much for the invite. However, I am not comfortable until I get to know you better coming over to your place. What do you think about having coffee first to see if we have chemistry? You don't shame men for what women have done to them. We have made it casual sex is okay. Not them. Men have always been into casual sex. Women are who changed. We don't shame men for wanting to penetrate us. Yes. That's actually what makes them fall in love. That's why they date, right? Men want sex and money. They get money in order to have sex. So never, never shame a man for wanting to have sex with you. You say, thank you for finding, and text him this, thank you for finding me sexually attractive. However, I am not comfortable having sex with you until we're in a committed relationship or whatever you're comfortable, right? And I get to know you more, right? That's telling him like, yes, of course, I also want to have sex with you. But it's saying like, because if you just completely shut a man down, then it's like cutting off his dick. He's just going to go find somebody else. You have to give him a reason to continue to pursue you, which is sex. So when you say 0% text back, like that is so emasculating and so fucked up. And like, I cannot believe some of this stuff. Like, what was one of the other ones? This girl was like...
So, there was 3 examples. It was, what are you doing tonight? The guy texts, what are you doing tonight? And she said, wouldn't you like to know? Okay. That's fucking rude.
Well, so remember, like, and let's change this. Like, what would we say?
What would we say?
We would say,
thank you so much for asking.
Yes.
Thank you so much for asking.
Thank you so much for asking.
I'm out with my girlfriends. Or I'm...
No. We want to change that sentence.
Which one?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know?
So
okay,
you can make that flirty.
Yeah, so thank you so much for asking.
Thank you so much for asking.
You could say, wouldn't you like to know?
Smiley face.
Smiley face or that like shy emoji.
Or like even like the little devil emoji or something. Yeah. I don't... But make it flirty.
And then you can say like, wouldn't you like to know ... I feel like I might take over the world. Or something like coy and like witty, but come from your feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you can say, I'll give you a kiss if you can guess what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. Or like, what I'm going to do tonight.
So again, I mean, being playful and fun is important, but you don't like all of these are just like teaching women to be completely bitches. And I actually love the book.
Why Men Love Bitches.
The
hot dog story is so good. Oh my God.
And again, when he's like, well, it's a drive to come see you. And you text back like, I'm worth the drive. Like, that's cute. It's not, I don't know when being just a complete, basically narcissist became attractive.
It's this black cat culture right now. Black cats are not bitches, just for the record. And it's this like, it went from this like coy and like cats can be very playful and like shy and like they do their own thing, but men want something that is fun and playful. Whoa, very serious. Fun and playful. They don't want to hear about work. They want you to be flirty and fun. And that's what's happening in our culture is that if you come at him where he says, what are you doing? And you say, wouldn't you like to know? That's masculine to masculine. That's like, fuck you. And most likely he's probably not going to talk to you again. That's not initiating him to chase you because men chase something that's fun and flirty. Because they're like, oh, like she's like coy and playful. Like I want to play with her. It's not offensive for a man to want to play with you and have fun with you and take you out and spend his money on you and want to have sex with you. Like we are on this planet for men to have fun with. They go to work, they make money, and they come home and we are the funness. We are the fun in their life. And so their dudes friends are what are like, oh, wouldn't you like to know? They're like, it's very douchey.
Well, you're also like setting a precedence that you don't want to continue throughout the relationship. Like if you actually
like stonewalling him.
The thing is like if you want to be a seductress and just have a man pursue you to fuck you and leave you, then act like that.
Yeah.
But if you are trying to be, and this is what this woman is teaching, because that's her entire vibe, is playgirl alpha. And that is a woman that a man will pursue you until he gets what he wants, because once he conquers you, he's
over.
conquered the bitch and he will leave. So,
Yes.
yeah, if you want to be a plaything and not a wife, take her advice. I totally agree. You can get a man, right? Because you're being teasy and playful, but trust me, he doesn't want to marry that, because that's not, and you're going to get douchey men that just want to conquer.
Yes.
They don't want a wife. They don't want a mother. So
They
it also
probably most
depends on,
likely don't have any morals.
what you want.
Yes.
Again, that kind of stuff, like, I'm actually super teasy like that. But I will put like a emoji that's like smiling, or like a
But
like a.
It's how it's being presented. It's how it's landing. Like, thank you so much for asking me what I'm doing tonight. Like you're initiating to him, like, oh, you're curious about what I'm doing. It's reciprocal. It's not a wall he's hitting.
Well, but again, it's like, do you want to be a long-term relationship or a short-term relationship? And just like think about what you want long-term. Yeah, sure. You want to be a challenge, but where you're a challenge is that you are a person that doesn't have sex outside of relationships.
Virtue.
And you're a virtuous woman. You're not just some like...
You're not free. But you can be free if you want to be free.
Yeah. And again, all men want to conquer.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if they're just trying to conquer a woman because she's being a bitch and they want control over that, they don't want to put up with a bitch their whole life.
No.
That's not something that, I mean, I like when a man will put me in my place, but I don't want a man that's just like constantly an asshole. Like, if he needs to be an asshole, I really appreciate that in a man, but it's not all the time. So if you're just like constantly never giving men anything back, and remember that men give in the physical, women give abstractly. So if you're not saying thank you, I appreciate you, you're just rejecting him. And also nowadays, men are not immune to rejection the way that they used to be, because they just like haven't had to. So
he'll turn around and attack you and tell you you're being a fucking bitch and never talk to you again.
Yeah, and also like the quality men that I know in my life, like, would not put up with a woman like that. And it's just not. It's not cute. And like one of the other texts was like, what are you doing? Wouldn't you want it? Like, wouldn't you like to know?
No, she said, I'm taking over the world. Why? Like, what? That's her life advice. So he asked her, what did he ask her? What are you doing right now, or something like that?
Yeah, or what are you doing tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't know. And then her advice was taking over the world. Why? Okay, if I responded, if I was in his shoes, I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with this human?
Yeah, no.
I'd be like, what a bitch. Like, I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to even hang out with you.
Again, you're going to attract a very douchey man with that.
Yeah.
If you want, how you respond to that is, it's so nice to hear from you. Again, you want a positive stroke so that he continues to reach out. And
thank you for asking.
Yeah, something feminine, like, oh, I just got a massage and like my body feels so good. Like, whatever, you want something from feelings, and you want something that's like, he's thinking about you, giving you a massage when you say something like that. Yeah. Like, it's just, I can't believe, like, I wonder where she's getting this from, or if she's just making it up.
I think she's just making it up, but it's an energetic, like, you can actually, like, it's so crazy when you start to like dig into this work and you start to understand communication, because there is such a dark side of communication, which is like what we've seen, right? Like when we're talking about this conversation, I'm thinking about like dark communication versus light communication, right? Dark communication, stonewalling, being passive aggressive, being very like blunt and rude, like not expecting people to read your mind. Like that's very dark, right? Like, And for this individual, and like, that's okay. If you want to be in that dark communication and that's how you live your life, and like Meg said, you're going to attract a very like douchey, kind of just that like fuck you and leave really kind of vibe, right? Like if you just want a fuck boy, or a paraternist. Actually, I don't know if a paraternist would stick around. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's a game. You're actually playing games, and we actually teach you not to play games because we teach transactional analysis. We teach you how to communicate properly so that there's no gray area, and your husband or boyfriend or significant other always feels respected, and she always feels cherished with communication. That is our main goal, and that's what we do, because if you communicate in light energy and understanding what you're communicating, you are actually undoing past trauma, and you're also creating less trauma moving forward in the world.
It's just a very strange world. But the thing is like, you can be nice and flirty, but we have, and this is actually one thing that I was stuck in, is thinking like being a challenge is being like overly cold and mysterious. And, I actually come to find like that's not the way you build a relationship. That's the way you build a conquest, but not a relationship. And that's one of the reasons why I wasn't having a lot of success in my past relationships, is that, I was attracting the wrong men because I was really cold and overly mysterious, and like good men don't want that.
No.
Right? They want somebody that is open and vulnerable and loving, playful, and ready to receive, fun, and playful. Like that's somebody that you want to spend the rest of your life with. It's not this bitch that you cannot have. Like, guys are going to be like, this is just not worth it. Like after, it's not somebody you want to spend, like you feel like you can never please them, and that their standards are overwhelming, and da-da-da-da.
Well, and quite frankly, it's abusive. That's abusive behavior.
Well, and you're putting a man in his place. It's like, the 0% text and things like that. It's just be nice. Be vulnerable.
Actually, don't be nice. Be kind.
Right.
Be kind.
So, again, if you guys want to know more about like texts and stuff, just like let us know. Also, let us know if this was helpful. We kind of like went in all different directions with this, but it just needed to be talked about, of like, always be gracious, always be graceful, always be loving. Like that's the feminine energy. And again, I totally understand where these women are coming from, but that's it's very wrong because it's based in feminism of man hate. And I just am not for that. And I would never teach that. And, just from the men I have in my life now, even though I'm not in a full relationship, there's so much better quality men than I've ever had in my life. And it's because I'm in my feminine more than I ever have been, and I'm not this like very guarded, unconquerable woman. I'm actually feminine. So, this unobtainable like
game. It's a game.
Is just not. It might be fun because you feel powerful, but remember that power is hedonism, and like that's dark.
Power is also masculine.
Yes, it is.
Control, like being in control of the situation. Like we could pull this entire thing apart, and like playing those kind of games is you being in your masculine and communicating like a man. So if you have every right to do that, and you can continue to communicate like that, but I will tell you that eventually your nervous system will break down and you will end up old and alone.
Because with a lot of Botox.
But one reason why we talked about this is because it's very trendy online right now. And the second thing is that this is going to be a huge topic that we are going to cover in our master series and our mastermind that is launching May 1st. We did push the date back because we got some really great news and got invited to be a part of a really amazing container for 10 months, and it starts in April, so we have to push it back until May. We've had a lot of interest, so ladies, there are only a limited amount of seats, so please be mindful if you are really interested in it, or you're kind of like on the wall. Reach out if you have any questions, because once the seats are gone, they're gone. And we probably won't do another one until next year, because we're going to do a men's in the fall, most likely, is kind of where we're gearing towards right now. We're not 100%, but that's kind of where it's at, to be transparent in that. But we will talk about this, and because it's a huge thing in the world right now, even texting online, like communicating online, everything is about text exchange nowadays in the world, the modern world we live in. So it's a huge thing that Megan and I have really kind of hyper focused on, not only in our coaching practice with our clients, we've kind of had to pivot, but in this mastermind that we're going to be doing. Did I miss anything?
No. I mean, you know what to do. subscribe, comment, let us know. We
Yeah.
we have requests that are coming, but we wanted to get this one done. And
Yes, we do have requests coming. So if you're listening to us and you send us a request, thank you. You've been heard. I promise we are circling around and we will be taking care of those. But like, subscribe, share, and until next time,